All right, what up? Race Brain, HYROX Show. It's your boy, Matt Mason. And today I am joined by some say the 17th best OCR athlete of all time. However, if you listen to the most recent episode, I think he may have fallen to 21. We've got Bracken Crocker, 21. We've also got the hybrid stats man himself. Nobody, self-proclaimed, nobody knows more about hybrid or OCR timekeeping, record keeping, or stats keeping, and this is relevant to today's show, than this man, Jack Bauer. What's up, fellas?
I think that's very accurate. If you claim to have looked at more OCR and hybrid stats than me, reach out and we'll have a talk.
Wow, you're gonna have lots.
Zero. Yeah. A lot of people asking.
Your computer's gonna crash.
Yeah. A lot of people asking. A lot of people asking. We also have a special guest joining us here shortly, kind of last minute. So we're going to go ahead and get started while they get logged on. And we will draft. But before we do, we would be remiss if we didn't cover the news that is it fair to say, Jack, that it is roiling the HYROX world?
Most of the time, you have a post on HYROX and on their Instagram or whatever, 95% are positive, which is very strange coming from the OCR world. Typically it's very negative. Whatever happened this past weekend set people off, and there are a lot of unhappy customers out there.
A lot of unhappy customers out there. I think that's fair to say. So to get everybody up to speed, in case you are living under a rock, although I'd assume if you're listening to this show, you're already well aware, HYROX has historically worked with Micah Timing, and unbeknownst to us, it seems as though they have dropped that partnership for whatever reason. If you now go to the HYROX page and you go to rankings, you will know.
Let's do a screen share because it's hard to.
All right, Jack, you want to share?
All right.
Well, by the way, you can still find the old results page. It does exist. You have to Google it. But you just can't navigate there. Go ahead.
I'm going to give some historical context to it. This is what companies do in the event space when they get too big for their britches. All right, Spartan did this. This is what race companies in particular do. They first start out and they have to contract a third-party company to handle their timing, as they should, because you're supposed to hire professionals for professional work. And then they get to the point where they're like, we're making good money, but look at this in the finance meeting. Look at this slice of the pie we're giving to someone else. How hard can it be? And someone goes, I could do it for way less. And then they do, and then it sucks. And then if you're lucky, one of two things happen. You either figure out all the bugs and you fix it within a calendar year and you have a functioning system again, or you go back to another third party and say, there's a reason you guys exist. So right now we're going to find out who HYROX is as a company, because they've gone this route of we're going to cut expenses and we can do it ourselves. And now it sucks. And now we're going to find out who they are as a company.
Yeah, this is like the old analogy where people are like, you go and see a dentist when you have a tooth problem. You don't try doing it yourself. And this is kind of what we're seeing right here. Okay, I'll do a screen share.
While you're pulling that up, ladies and gentlemen, this is now the Milwaukee HYROX show, as Jack is the only non-Milwaukeean in the chat. We got Raw Dog.
See you guys.
We got Raw Dog himself, Dawson Miller. Yeah. What's up, Dawson?
How's it going? Good. How's everyone doing?
Good.
We're doing well. We're talking about the results. So Jack's about to share his screen to share with our listeners what we're currently working with.
What were the odds that we add in a fourth member and our pigment does not get any tanner? All of us match Jack's background perfectly.
I match my background absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Oh, hilarious.
You guys see the
results?
Yeah,
we got you. Yeah, we got you.
All right. So
first off, can we just call out the thing that pisses me off the most is that this is clearly already optimized for mobile and is not a good desktop experience.
The cursor does not become a click-shaped icon when you scroll over it. Nope. There's no indication you can even click on it.
Correct.
But it does take up 1/7 of the page.
So you guys, if we're looking 1/7 of the page, if we're
looking back,
This is the first HYROX race in 5-6 weeks. They ended on with a ton of positive momentum. Everyone was really looking forward, and I don't know what they decided to do over Christmas break. It was not the right thing. But I'll click on this with my cursor, and oh wait, there was a race this weekend for Manchester, and you go to leaders, and now you have your different drop downs. Let's go to men. So you're telling me you're only going to show the top 10, but
which, by the way,
Just
you
click
can't
more.
click on them.
Show more.
I'm clicking everything.
Click show more, Jack.
Yeah, let's only have the podium for each of these things. That's it. There's no splits, nothing. Say you finished 11th place, you're not showing up on this list. You got 4th place in your age group, you didn't make your age group podium, you're not showing up. No splits, and if you go to the results thinking that's
Go ahead and
type
in like Lucy Davis.
All right. Well, I'll type in Lucy.
She's right there.
Yeah, but that's like a team. Okay, so
Yeah,
doubles.
so go ahead and click on that. Yep.
Can
so
you?
go ahead and click on
you
it.
can.
Yeah,
It
you
doesn't say
can.
but you
It
can.
does. Yeah, it's got your vertical cursor, so you're allowed to click on it, as most people
Yep.
expect.
And go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom.
I'm trying, but their website's like broken. This is bad. I'm gonna have to refresh because the website froze on me. It was not responding. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, I cannot type Lucy Davis. I can't type
Jack.
It's freezing on me.
You broke it.
I didn't break it.
This is
Yeah.
their brand new
So I
toy
think-
and you
I think-
broke it.
I think a couple of things here.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. Lucy Davis. We're going to try this one more time. So now that it's hypothetically not broken. All right. Let's look at these.
Can you go
splits.
down further? Can you go down further?
This is the bottom of the screen right here.
I need to see rocks in, rocks out.
Yeah.
Yep.
How-
So now,
How fast were you compared to your peers?
no idea.
Percentage rank at least.
Couldn't tell you. Where did you finish relative to your entire age group? Also
What do you
couldn't
need-
tell you.
What do you need to work on? How is this 217 sled pull? Is that fast today? Is it slow
Listen,
today?
Big Hybrid is colluding to try to get high result further up in search rankings and to get more people to pay there because they're getting a percentage of it. This is Big Hybrid.
I
what's
know.
happening.
So High Result and RockSopt can no longer scrape the data because they can't pull. They don't know who was there. Though if you go and look at High Result, there are no updates for Manchester because they can't scrape the data.
Now I support taking down RockSopt. There's a bunch of scumbags associated with it, but High Result needs to be here.
Yeah, High Result can't be. That's the problem. So I think this is bad. Like I think that we all agree that this is bad. Dawson, I know, has a theory as to why he thought that they did this. I think actually makes a lot of sense. He's eating right now, unless he wants to share it about overloading the website. Dawson, can you share that?
Yeah,
theory?
so I'm not, a website aficionado or anything, but essentially when you're staying on the same screen the entire time and you're not loading a million pages, clicking through a bunch of different results, the traffic is lower, so it's less likely to crash their site. So when they have instances when they have a lot of people all going on the site at the same time, it could be optimized for that. But other than that, I don't really see a benefit at all to this new setup.
Which is also funny because that's the exact opposite of what every website on earth is trying to get you to do, which is to load another page for another click.
Just think of like fantasy football. How many people around the world while this game is going on are on at the same exact time? That never crashes.
Websites being overloaded is like a Squarespace thing.
Yeah, like in theory, one person could crash a website.
It's a good theory, but not for a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah. Let's say that was your first ever race. You showed up to HYROX. What are your thoughts initially on this company? Because this isn't it wasn't just timing. There were issues of not enough equipment and waiting for, to get your chance to finally do farmer's carry or lunges because there wasn't enough equipment. I saw some people say that they didn't have medals in some of the posts. It wasn't a good first experience for a lot of people, I bet.
No, this is, again, I'm walking back my own words from about 2.5, 3 months ago when I said, I see no issue with their expansion rate. Well, now I do. Now I see an issue with their expansion rate. And what I would like to see is just get it buttoned down. This is like first and second year growth issues. We're beyond that. So it's tough to see a big step back, especially in a sport that requires data. It's one thing when Spartan Race switched over and you're like, oh, I can't access live tracking quite as easy. It's like, yeah, but there's 17 of us who care. Every single athlete who's going to do a second one needs their data. They all need it. And so it's a big miss, unfortunately.
Could you imagine doing a road race with 5,000 plus people in it? Because I'm assuming, we don't have the numbers, but they probably got way more than 5,000 realistically this weekend. And if you finished outside of the top 10, you don't know how fast you ran, and you might not for a while. Like that's crazy. We all come from a running background. The single most important thing when you do a timed competitive race is to know your time, and then what place you were in your age group. Like that's another pretty useful thing. It's not mandatory, but if you can't even give your time or your splits, like that's crazy.
Time for everyone to break out the Timex watches and start taking splits in and splits out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that this happens at their largest event with the most people, the most eyes on it, just participation wise. So that just amplifies any error that they had times, that many more people that it affects.
Well, and it, like, big picture, it's probably not a big deal if it's fixed really quickly here. But like Dawson said, it's their biggest event. And I have never, ever in my life of niche sports seen one capture the outside interest the way HYROX has done this offseason. Since World Championships, I have seen more CrossFitters, more random influencers, more fitness gurus online talk about HYROX. In fact, in my news feed, I just got a story. It said, what is HYROX? All about the fad, like sweeping the world. Like, you never saw that with Spartan Race or Tough Mudder. You didn't get mainstream coverage like that. So they have eyes now, and it sucks that this is happening now.
Yeah, like I just like you mentioned, get on my phone, swipe right, and it's got all the news stories on the side scroll, and HYROX, multiple of them, and they're big publications. It's not just like some local news source that doesn't really have a lot of fun. This is like national level attention, and then this is your season opener. And just think of all the people who had how hard it is to just find a ticket to a lot of these events, because they have the pre-sale, they sell out really quickly, and now a lot of people just had a not so good experience on potentially their first one. It's just so surprising because their momentum was at an all-time high heading into this off season, and all anybody wanted to do was have Christmas and winter break be done. Let's get to Las Vegas, see what happens. And now this is what we're talking about for the first 15 minutes of the show.
Well, and then we just got into Jack Bauer swiping right. So there is a silver lining in this.
Yeah.
He just outs it on
Yep.
worldwide streaming podcast.
Worldwide. Yeah. Where'd Matt go?
No one knows. All the hosts are missing. Rich is gone.
Dawson
Matt's
doesn't have
gone.
a face. Yeah.
Dawson may or may not be here.
Yeah.
I'd rather have you guys not watch me eat. So Matt had me jump on here right in the middle of my lunch. So I thought it would be optically better to not see you stuffing me,
Gotcha.
for you to see me stuffing my face.
There's a market for everything.
So another critique we've seen this in OCR many times throughout the years. We've done a ton of athlete drafts, and I know that they're not doing this for a podcast and other media, but we still don't know officially from HYROX who's racing in this major a few days away. Like,
yeah,
that's something that they've posted in the past a week or sometimes 2 weeks leading into it, like whenever the roll down period happened. And there are a lot of roll down athletes this time. So it's like, why don't they release that information as well? It's just been a rough start to the year for them, it seems.
So I'm going to pose a question to both of you guys, since you're all we have here. You two to represent, Dawson to represent the athletes, Jack to represent media and I guess logic. Not that Dawson doesn't have logic, but he's here as an
wait,
athlete today.
Shots fired at Dawson. Jeez.
No, we just got to play our roles on here. And that is, why wouldn't you release it? I can understand if this was something like the NFL injury report, where you're going to try to really push it off as long as possible for an advantage, or if this was something that was going to set betting lines in Vegas and the sports books were all relying upon accurate information. Like, if you release the athlete list, or even like 12 of the 15 and drum up information, excitement about this information, and then you have to backtrack an athlete or three, like what's the downside of that versus the downside of we still don't really know who's racing?
Yeah. This isn't like
why don't we do it?
Yeah, this isn't like wrestling where you're gonna have like just suddenly the Stone Cold music comes on, the glass breaks, and Meg Jacoby appears at the start. Like that's not how this works. We know the 50, or we're supposed to know the 15 athletes who are going to be on the start line at that point. So I see no disadvantage, or I see nothing negative about releasing who these athletes are. They know they have the T-shirts for them. They have all the graphics they're preparing behind the scenes for them. I don't see why they can't make this info public, and we have to do all the digging.
Dustin, as an athlete, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to be announced early on, or why they wouldn't want to announce you early?
No, and I've talked to Marcus a little. Marcus had a ticket to Vegas, a plane ticket, before he was ever reached out to by HYROX because he needed to. It was 2 weeks before the event, and he just booked a flight just to book one on a whim. And it worked out that he is now in the Elite 15 field, but there's no reason why he shouldn't know a few weeks in advance if they're reaching out to athletes beforehand. I know that since this is Marcus's first time in the Elite 15, there's a lot of paperwork and stuff that he has to fill out as well. There's contract agreements with, I know they have their new drug policy and all that. So there's things that the athletes need to do before they're even allowed to race in the Elite 15. So from somebody who's on the bubble in Marcus and me a little further down, still on the top 40 list, it'd be good to know, or at least have this information, or do we have the opportunity to fill this out in case there's a situation like this beforehand? Just having things and being able to schedule how we can physically and logistically get to these races is much more important to the athlete perspective. Maybe not necessarily releasing it to the public right away, but even somebody who's racing in the Elite 15 race was not notified 2 to 2.5 weeks before the race. So it's just putting a lot of stress on the athletes on top of being prepared to race constantly.
So you ran cross country in college. You're also a national champ in the steeplechase, and now you're doing this sport. So you've had several different opportunities to figure out how championship racing needs to coincide with fitness peaks. In this sport, with what we all have to put together on race day, what's your window that you would prefer to know by in order to be ready to take a roll down and jump into a major? Is there a big enough window, or do you have to prepare as a roll down athlete as if you're going to be called?
So I guess just in general, it's any athletic thing that I've been in charge of or participated in the past has been, a set schedule. So your yearly schedule, approximately within 2 weeks every single year that it's going to be on this weekend. So you can plan your whole yearly cycle around that. With HYROX, they are designing it now with the major schedules that you can do it around the majors, but especially for athletes where there's no direct qualification system, everybody's qualifying at different races for these majors. So depending on where you are in the world, you're running different races because like we had to go to Chicago and Dallas in the fall. Well, in Europe, they have different weekends that they're trying to qualify. So you're really just designing it outside of, or each individual has to have a different schedule. So if you had, say, that map set out, you can plan so that you're at a certain level for an extended period of time, but there's no way that you can know okay, I need to peak now. I have 3 weeks. Can I change anything that I've been doing to try to enhance myself? Yes, there's a few things, but there's not anything you can do to drastically and that's based on ability level. When you're at a certain level, like the top 10, 15 guys, they are much more likely to be able to set it up so that they can peak at certain times, where anybody who's from 15 to 40, essentially, you just have to be at a certain level at all times, which makes your peaks, you're not able to peak as well. I would say if you had, say, like a month and a half beforehand, you'd be able to actually change what you're doing and adapt to be able to hit a peak. But then you also have to look at, all right, this is just the peak for one major. How will that impact the rest of my training for the end of the year? So it's so personalized that I don't think you can really plan for it. And just in general, you just need to be at a certain level at all times so that you're ready to race at any point. It's too much micromanaging to try to do anything else. If you're in a situation like Marcus or me, where you're not sure if you're in these majors, you're not sure if there's going to be a fast course, if like there's so many variables that the only thing you can really hold is just being at a certain level of fitness at all times and hoping for the best outside of that.
Which you can't really do, right? Like, I mean, it's pretty hard to hold on to that fitness. And like, I don't think anyone's going to feel bad for Marcus because he got in, but like, I think that also kind of shows some of the flaws in the system that Marcus found out a week and a half before Vegas that he was into the race. And as far as I know, like Marcus is in good shape, but you guys were building for that Houston race, right?
Yeah,
so
that was our original plan and even with I'm racing in Vegas as well. Just from personally, I couldn't do any other races in the fall. So this is kind of like a stepping stone race for me in Vegas to peak for Houston for our doubles race. And yeah, now at least Marcus's strategy is kind of thrown, it's totally out the window now because now he has to prepare for this race.
Right. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. It'd be different if this were a mile or a 5K distance, where you got to be pretty, like the difference in being sharp and strong in the mile is the difference between being there at the end and not. It still is a strength-based event. You can, like Dawson said, just stay pretty darn fit and strong, and you might just get into a race where it clicks. So it's not the end of the world. It can happen, but you don't want to rely upon, like, I hope the sleds aren't moving today because I'm not sharp, but I'm strong, when we've seen the benefit that can come from a late call-up. Like Palaio got his foot in the door and he's never left. JK got his foot in the door. He's never left.
Last year.
Well, question though, I guess a question for you. I hear that argument, but we're also talking about someone who now, I mean, at the time he wasn't. We're talking about someone who now is like arguably a top 5 athlete in the sport in Palaio. And you all know, everybody on this show knows more about running than I do. I think it's fair to say. So I'd be curious from about your all's perspective, though, kind of to that point, though, Bracken, like if I'm a Dawson Miller as an example, I think Dawson would say this. Dawson's strength in the field is his running ability. Sure, he's good on the stations. He's good on, the ergs, and he can move the weight. That's not a problem. But if someone like Dawson is going to compete, he's going to compete because he's going to outrun you. Like he has one of the faster run times in the field. And if you are building, like say you're building to a Houston, and sure, it's not a mile, but he's probably not in peak 5K or 10K shape 6 weeks out, right? Because he's still climbing, he's still ascending to that. And now he's got to race.
Well, and I'll let Dawson speak to his personal fitness and how he's built, but like some people don't combine the station and running until later. Like they build in isolation and then they combine as they get close. Like you get called up, your running can be really strong, but if you can't access it in the middle, or your running and compromise running might be really strong, but if you haven't put the final piece in, it may not allow you to go out hot. Your running might be super strong, but you just can't absorb like a 310 or 3 flat your first K, where some of these guys are going to go out and crank that. So it will just remove a few arrows from your quiver in general. And I don't know where Dawson's sitting with his or where Marcus was. Marcus comes in with a different type of skill. I don't know how he built it, but whatever the last piece you were saving to put together hasn't been laid down yet.
Yeah. And I mean, just in general, from a strictly running standpoint, like you're never really more than like 3 to 4% off your peak at any point. When you're building up specifically for like track races, like when we're talking about seconds for PRs, obviously through HYROX, it's probably more like 45 seconds to a minute difference, I'd say. You're very close you're very close like throughout an entire season. So as Bracken said, you're just kind of adding that one little piece towards the end, which, there's kind of a, when you have, so for Worlds this year, for March, I'm not pulling out all the stops, but when it's like a few, 6 weeks before Worlds and you're ironing out everything, you kind of get to that point of no return where after you start to either taper or you hit your final peak, you know that there's kind of no coming back, or you're going down and you're going to need about 2 months afterwards to get back up. So you can do that timing of things, but I don't think anybody is doing that currently. I know personally I'm not. It's more trying to do a slight peak for Houston, and then really trying to still build and gear towards till Worlds. But that's the fine line that we go on, is that you have to be ready at all times, but you also can't overexert yourself, because once you get past that peak and that point, you need time to recover, to build again. So it's a science, and nobody's really figured it out yet for HYROX. And for running, it's a little more precise, but you add so many other elements. I feel like there's still just so much learning in the setup of training in this sport that there's no real right answer right now.
I think my point more so is kind of going back to what you were saying of like, at least I had to come back in after the internet drop, but like, I think the macro point is, because there's not a standard qualification weekend. And like, to your point, you raced in November, and then some of the guys that got into this Vegas race raced the last race of the year, which I believe was Frankfurt in mid-December. There hasn't been a race 6 weeks out. And so sure, you may only be 3 to 4% difference, but I think we can all agree that 3 to 4% difference might be the difference in your ability, one, not only to be in the race, but two, to get a podium or to get one of these spots to get into Worlds. So like, yeah, the average listener, 3 to 4%, like you're like, oh, that's not a big deal. But like, how much did Ronk beat Sandy at World Championships? Jack, was it 0.5%? 0.2?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that can be a massive difference in the grand scheme of things.
It's also not linear. It's not like if I'm 3% less fit, I will be 3% slower.
Yeah,
it might mean that I hold race pace and I crack at station 6. Like that 3% becomes 2 minutes on wall balls because you were 3% shy and you tipped. So, I mean, I think we're kind of getting into the weeds on this because it's also a strength of the system. In a normal world championship qualifying, every country is allocated spots. And so lesser athletes are guaranteed to be able to qualify through if they're in a weak nation. And then they get to Worlds and there's no chance of winning. At least in this system, you can catch the greats in their base phase or in their holding pattern. And you might be able to say, hey, I'm swinging at this one. And then you pop one and you're in and you're set. So it gives hope, but it's like, it's atypical hope and you can't plan around it unless you think you see something in the crystal ball coming up. And we see it each year. Someone decides, I'm going to be so ready for this, and it works. It's going to not work as often as it works, but it's a weird system that doesn't exist in existing endurance sports. And these late call-ups amplify how weird the system is because you have no clue what type of fitness people are in.
And now, not to take this all the way back, we don't even know the rankings anymore. So we don't even know what the time is. Dawson knows what time he has to run because he has a screenshot of it. But if you just wanted to go and look right now and see what time you needed to run to get into the Elite 15 for Glasgow, it's gone. It's not even on the website anymore. So it's a mystery. So I don't want to belabor this point because I know we need to get to drafting for the sake of time. But it is interesting to me that now not only can you not see the splits, but you can't see anything. So like to Jack's point earlier, like you don't know how you did on sled pull. You don't know how you did on sled push. You don't know what you need to work on. You don't know if where you fall. And I wonder if maybe, I think this is definitely conspiracy theorists. I don't think this is the real reason why they made the change, but like now you can't talk about times anymore because you just can't see them. You just can't see them. You can't see sled push times. You can't see sled pull times. You can't talk about fast courses.
Such a genius move to get rid of the time system that they created.
You can't. Bracken, if you go to results and if you see the number one winner of the race, you can't even click on their name. You have to go back, search, and pull it up, and then you still can't see it in comparison. The live leaderboard is gone. So now, like, I don't think this is why they did it, but now we have no idea. So it almost effectively ends the debate. You can't say if it was a fast course or not.
You
Yeah, and I
basically,
think that's sorry, Jack.
I was going to say, you basically need to know who's in the race and then type in their times manually afterwards to do that. But the problem is, I went to the Las Vegas official page where it has all the info, and I clicked on start list, and guess where it took me? It took me right back to the new crappy results page. So you can't even figure out who's in the race to start with. So you're immune if you're outside of the top 10.
If you want to hear some takes on that, you can go listen to Matt B. Davis's hybrid live show from last night. They had someone from Manchester. They did not send out, I don't know if you all covered this while my internet was out. They did not send out start lists. People did not know what time they were racing. Someone finally figured out that if you search your name in the search results, you can find the time. But they used to send out start times on Monday or Tuesday.
Mhm.
They didn't send out any start times for Manchester. They have 4 races this weekend, including a major.
So if you identified as like a 7:05 start time, would they let you do that? Or did you have to guess correctly?
I don't. You had to guess. You basically had to show up and find out. But like from a prep perspective, that's a terrible experience.
All right, Dawson, what did you have there?
I was just gonna say it's going to be a big hit for the major this weekend. A lot of people follow the live results to see, and just while the live stream is going on, not only people who are watching the live stream, but also people on site. It almost, I mean, at least our Milwaukee group, whenever anybody is racing, we're looking at their splits live and almost yelling to the participants like how they're doing in comparison, and that'll be a big hit for just both in race and just people live there who aren't watching the live stream, who aren't seeing the commentary. It really adds to just your ability to understand how the race is going on.
Totally. Yeah. Just real quick. Like I remember in Chicago, they had, the women go first, and you can kind of, as a guy, you can look at the women's splits, be like, oh, the sleds are moving today, or they're not. Like you can infer how it's going to be that day. And that might affect your strategy. You're like, I can go a little bit harder because I know that they're not as tough today. So having that data is super valuable.
And before we wrap up and move on to the draft, which we need to, I'm just going to get ahead of the blowback of people complaining about our complaining. It's like, who cares? This is only for the elite. It's only for you nerds that care about this. Well, no, we are a product of what they claim their product is. Like we said this about FISO, we said this about Spartan. We take you as seriously as you proclaim yourself to be. So if you are the world championship of fitness, if you are the biggest movement in hybrid sports, if you are the new wave of endurance racing and hybrid and strength racing, if you are this big thing, then you have to accept it when the fans of that big thing are upset that they can't track your sport. So if you had stayed piddling around at convention halls and not put on live streams and not signed massive deals, we would hold your results page to that standard. But when you make big claims and sign big deals, we expect to be able to track your sport, or at least not put out a worse product. So that's the reaction here. This is a product of their own creation. If you're going to grow and you're going to expand and you're going to reduce an offering, this is an appropriate complaint.
Yeah, and I think as an athlete, I think maybe Jack made the point earlier. Like, if I want to work with my coach on this afterwards, it's very hard to get an idea of like, yes, because sled times are different. Sometimes it's helpful to see how you placed out of the field. It is helpful to see like, okay, was that actually a weakness? We lost that. Right. Jack, if you want to go ahead and pivot to the draft, because of the delays this morning, we actually have bought ourselves enough time that we have an official lineup for both the men's and the women's field.
Oh,
so I can read off I can read off the names for you to verify so that no one gets hosed. All right, you want to start with the women?
I'm not going to talk. I'm going to put mute so you don't hear the clicking.
Yeah, that's fine. We're going to start with, for the women, I'm going to go in order of their seeding. Lauren Weeks, Vivian Tafuto, Viola Oberlander, Linda Meyer, Joanna Wetrick.
You got to slow down.
Matt, I can type like 100 words a minute. You're doing like 300. Okay.
A flex and a complaint at the same time. I like that.
Lauren Weeks.
Yeah. Vivian.
Yep. Viola.
Yep.
Linda.
Okay.
Joanna.
Okay.
Lauren Griffith.
Okay.
Friend of the show, Kate Davey.
Yep.
New entrant, Lucy Proctor.
Okay.
Dawson's favorite Elite 15 athlete, Amy Bevilacqua.
Let's go.
Okay.
Zara Piergiani,
Okay.
Jana Levenstedt,
Okay.
Seka Arning,
Our next.
good friend of mine, Camila Massa,
Okay.
Jade Skillen,
And last.
rounding out the Aussies, Jess Petro.
Matt, you can't be tipping my picks like that. You were the only one with that information.
That's not true. Bracken is also a big Amy Bevilacqua fan, so it'll be a battle for.
I'll never
Right.
root for her.
Look, Lucas Storath, as
Just
far as I'm
kidding.
aware, isn't on it. So
It is
There's a free pick.
JK.
Yep.
Pelayo,
just read them off of this pace. I won't confirm. I can type that fast.
Hunter, Dylan Scott, Ryan Kent, absent host Rich Ryan, Yannick Chopla, Rich Ryan Hater, Tim Vinish.
Is that confirmed?
No, it's just Rich used to dog on Yannick, so I just thought it'd be funny. No one races more HYROXes than this man after taking a shot at Jameson, Sean Noble, Bo Wills, John Wynn, Joffrey Voisin. You cannot drop him from the Elite 15. Jake Dearden, Harry Thompson, Wisconsin's finest, Debo.
I'm so happy he got in. And I love that he's the last seed.
He's not going to finish last.
He's not
Pulling,
gonna
he's
finish.
pulling a Pelayo.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that. I think Marcus might be which question on that. You guys may have talked about this. Does that prove that the system is broken if once again we get a world qualifier in the third major that someone is 25 or lower? Does that prove that the system is broken?
If Marcus pulls this off, I don't see how you can say otherwise.
The people who say it's not are the flat earthers. Like, it's been proven for a long time.
Fair.
A long time.
All right.
Fair.
Well, I think we need to do wheel of names. Who's going first? Matt, you're the host. You got to pull this up.
Yeah, I'll go ahead
Share
and pull
that
up the wheel of
screen.
names. I got you. Have
you pulled this up before?
Wheel of names.
Complicated.
Wheel of
you gotta
names.
hide ads. You got a full screen.
Dude, I got this. BK.
It's
We
just a
got
it's a big
Shaq.
We
task.
compare advertisements against what Rich
Oh,
and
dog.
I think Bracken, you did it once.
Yeah, I hid that right away before I even went live.
Yeah, you're like, no one's seeing.
No one needs to know what my browser thinks. I'm
Wheel of names.
constantly
Wheel of
jumping
names.
in.
For the Patreon members only, get to see that.
It's for the same people who want to pay to watch Dawson eat and me clip my toenails.
All right, you got this.
Yeah.
Can we see it? You guys can see it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
All
you
right,
gotta
here we go.
maximize.
What?
There we are. Oh,
There. Oh, expert. Go to
Pick one.
YouTube for the drama.
Matt.
It's gotta be me.
hang on there. Hang on there.
Oh no.
BK.
Oh, and Lauren Weeks shall join my team.
Are you taking pick one?
I want to pick one.
Wow. Shocker. His boy doesn't join the show. He doesn't know how to act.
Let's go.
Raw dog, new drafter. What do you want?
I'll take 4 in the snake.
Oh,
Ooh, Wisconsin
Four, one,
boys.
four.
Someone's taking a
Man.
turn.
Get off our lawn, Jack.
that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. This is
Wisconsin.
the only time I'm finishing last.
I'm
Come
gonna
first.
take. This is actually not straightforward. I gotta think about what you guys are gonna do here. I'm gonna take the 3 spot.
All right.
All right,
Here we go.
Jack.
Matt
This-
or Bracken, you already said Lauren. I'm just putting her out.
Yeah. Early season, give me Lauren, the jack of all fitness.
Yeah,
Does she
question.
abide by any periodization or peaking?
Well,
It
she's
doesn't need to happen.
running 100K the following weekend. So is that gonna hurt her or help her here, BK?
I don't apply any logic of racing
Lauren
to
Weeks.
Lauren Weeks. She is inevitable.
Yeah, I don't think we need to spend a ton of time here, not out of disrespect, but actually just out of respect for Lauren. I think everyone on the page agrees this is the obvious pick. She did get beat last time. It is worth pointing out that Joanna did have her number. However, we are talking about a 1-day time travel for Lauren, a fairly significant travel for Joanna too, to be fair, but definitely more manageable. I think it was only 2 time zones. And I just don't, unless anyone disagrees, I would be shocked if that happened 2 times in a row. We don't often, no one has ever gotten Lauren back to back except for Meg.
And listen, I was the only one touting Joanna last time as the spoiler upset. Everyone said not a chance, and I'm still taking Lauren because you can't get her twice.
Yeah. What was it? What did we say on the Okras? You run, I mean, you run 10 races that Lauren's in, and you're probably taking her 9 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the obvious pick. Good pick. Jack.
Oh man, I am torn between what the smart strategy is versus just locking someone up for my pick. I'm leaving some good people on the board. I'm actually going Joanna Wetrick. I think
Jack
at
zigged
worst,
when I thought that he was going to zag, and this is going to totally mess up my strategy here.
well,
Go ahead, Jack.
I think that, I mean, she won the most recent major. She does have to fly across the Pacific Ocean. That's a big deal. But I feel if you on the men's side, there's no guarantee who's going to be 1 and 2. And I feel like we can lean one way or the other, but I feel like Joanna has as good of a shot of winning or getting at worst second without having Meg Jacoby in this field that I just want to have a high performing woman on my team this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly right. This is Joanna's 3rd major, and just so we're clear, in her very first major, she got 3rd to none other than Lauren Weeks and Meg Jacoby. So she hasn't missed a podium. Do I think that the other women in the field will give her a run for her money? I mean, you have to assume that Viola and Linda are back to health after not being at health in their previous race. Probably, but Joanna has now run a 60 flat and then a 59. So she seems to be at another tier.
I think she just fills in for Meg. I think these two are 1 and 1A, and then the field is behind.
Once Meg gets back, got a 3-headed monster. It's going to be like Spartan race in the old days where it's like, good luck making the podium because all those spots are locked up.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's the right pick. All right. I'm going to take the first dude off the board. Give me the sheriff himself, Hunter McIntyre. Somewhere
disrespectful to not pick him.
Somewhere Rich is punching air right now. I just think, Bracken, you said it. Hunter has historically, when he races, he races to win, and he races to beat the ever living crap out of people. And as he gets older, would he maybe change up that strategy and just secure the place in the world championship and go for it? I'm here to say, I don't think this old dog's going to learn a new trick. I think that world championships was such a letdown for him. I think he went back to the drawing board. I think if you've watched any of the content that he's put out on YouTube, I think that he wants to remind everybody, in his words, who daddy is. And I think that he's going to be ready to make a statement. I don't think that he's going to be okay with anything other than first place. And that's a scary Hunter to me.
Yeah, we've just heard it for so long. His shtick has happened now for a decade, right? And at some point for every athlete, it ends. And we don't know when that is ahead of time. He's shown cracks. He also only respects, in my belief, one athlete in the world, and he's not here. So I think he believes he can come out here and just have his way with these people. And that sport doesn't exist anymore. You can't have your way with this sport anymore. Can he win? Yes. But the stat remains, we've never seen him win a race that he was losing coming out of burpee broad jumps. And I don't think the sport allows you to get away by then anymore. So it's just going to be fascinating. This is my favorite part of the weekend, is the Hunter show.
I hear that. For the sake of debate, because this is also a debate show, Bracken, I know you watch a lot of content while you're logging those treadmill hours. Have you watched the video where him and his coach talk about his Vegas strategy?
No, I actually I like Hunter a lot as a friend. I don't watch his content.
It's gotten pretty good. He's got a decent media company.
I'm not saying his content's bad.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. But the point is that he's got this coach that kind of breaks it down for him and uses an analogy. And he basically says, like, HYROX is like the Tour de France in the sense of you can either set a record or you can win. You can't do both anymore in the same race. And so he uses this analogy about how the person who's going to win basically has the people that go out that like set the pace, and then they fall back, and then the eventual winner kind of surges to the front. And so he basically gets Hunter to admit for the first time that Hunter doesn't need to win by 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Hunter needs to win by 5 seconds. And if he wins by 5 seconds, no one's going to remember that he won by 5 seconds. They're going to remember that he won. And for the first time, you kind of see like the light bulb go off of Hunter being like, that makes sense. So I actually don't think that he's going to try to lead pole to pole and just body everybody. I think that he's going to try to race smart. We'll see if it works, because that's not his racing style. And
he
at the
just
end of the
has
day,
a visor that goes down. Like he puts his helmet on, he
100
picks up his lance, and I want to see it, but I'll have to see
100%.
it.
If I'm looking
that's fair.
at the names in this list, who's going to go out fast? You don't have Sandy. You don't have Alex. You don't have
JK.
Anas. Like, yes, he will go out
Binish.
fast, but I don't think he's going to gap him by
Binish.
15 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I think my counterpoint to all of this, though, Bracken, is like, you're right. He has cracked, but every time he's cracked in a HYROX, he has gone on to put up dominant performances for a while after.
Here's the question.
We
for
don't
the
know
panel.
anymore.
Yeah, here's a question for the panel. Does Hunter need to win at this point?
Yes.
Like he has shown cracks, and I don't think that he has that aura around him anymore that like he's untouchable, unbeatable like he did when the sport first started. A bunch of athletes have seen him finish 4th, 5th place at world championships, not win every time, and it's been 7 months since world champs, and he hasn't raced since. I think he has to.
He needs to win for himself. I think the logical answer is no, but I think for who he is, like some of the Elite 15 athletes have told me that when you're on a start line with him, that he just sucks the air out of the start line because of who he is, because of that confidence, because of that bravado, whatever you want to call it. I think that the logical answer is no, he doesn't need to win. He just needs to qualify. But I don't know that Hunter knows how to race and not be the hands down favorite. So I would be curious to see if he doesn't win here, is this the beginning of the end?
Well, let's look at the last major in Hong Kong. What did Alex finish? Like 6th? If Hunter can't win this one and Alex just finished 6th, the whole field's got to be very confident that these guys are actually beatable. So I think he needs a statement win in this particular race just to keep himself on top, or else everyone else is going to be real confident around him.
His entire life, his two greatest things he has are his crazy engine and his crazy aura. That both of them matter as much on course as the other. And as someone like Dawson who's going to have to line up against him, his fitness is something you can deal with because his fitness can't hurt you. His fitness can't change your strategy. You know what you're getting. But it's the other side that changes people's race strategy, and they forget how to race. And if he loses that piece, he loses an incredibly important factor of his success, which is he shows up and people start to second guess themselves just by how he is at the start line. And so from that standpoint, he needs to win.
All right.
Dawson, are you afraid of him?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually stood next to him, but I would say, yeah, I mean, he just has that aura around him. It's also, I've never been in the same race as him, and you learn a lot just by, like you said, being next to somebody and racing against them and truly knowing your abilities against their abilities.
Yeah.
And that really just can, affect you greatly after you experience it. Since I haven't so far, I have no idea, but I can totally agree with what Matt's heard in the past is after you race somebody and, you put yourself all the way out there and it's just not enough. And it's so defeating that if that person is just on the line every single time, that it doesn't matter if they've had a bad race or not. They still have been dominant for so long that will have an effect on you.
You look at people who have won majors in the past. Let's just say like Dylan or David. They can win a race without changing 1 ounce of how anyone else races. Like David passes you and you just keep doing your thing. Hunter goes past you and you question things about yourself. And we can't identify why that thing is, but he has that. And that's the greatest thing you can bring to a championship race, is someone who causes you to question your own self while just being there around you.
And I think that's because this is just pure speculation, but I think that's because he doesn't typically crack. Again, he has cracked. He cracked at World Championships twice now. He cracked at a North American race where Kent got him. So there's been 3 times that he's cracked, but like, I think to your point, and again, this is no disrespect to any of those other guys that you mentioned, but like, I think it's fair to say Dylan Scott is a coin flip on which Dylan you're going to get. He's either going to have it or he's not. Hunter almost always has it, which is why I think that it's important for him. I think he'll want to win this, because if he wins it, then you look at Worlds last year and then his explanation of, I cut too much weight, I was overtrained, right? That all of a sudden has credence. He's 20 pounds heavier than he was at Worlds, according to him. He looks like he looked when he won Stockholm last year and set the world title, or set the world record again. So I think if he comes back out and blows the doors off, everybody says, oh shit, Hunter's back.
Right.
If he doesn't, anything less than that, I think people say, to your point, Bracken, he's just another dude in the field.
Well, and Hunter, and I raced him for the first time in 2013. And I think we've probably raced like 30 times in our life. So the unique thing about Hunter, and you don't hear a lot of people identify this thing, is that he doesn't make it look easy. Hunter looks miserable when you compete against him, but he throws surges at it. And that's what disorients you. That's the worst part, is that he breathes loud. He has a pain face. His arms thrash a little bit, but you've never seen a big man move that fast. And you can hear that he's hurting, and you would expect something other than another surge and another surge. And you just start to question yourself, like, if he's doing that on his own accord, like, what can I possibly do to this man? And you know you're hurting and you're trying to run clean because you're an ex-college runner and you try to run pretty, and he's just thrashing the race itself. And that's his thing. That's what breaks people, is how they see he's in pain and he's still surging harder than you want to surge. And you don't know if you're even hurting the way he hurts. So what can I do to him? So when you do crack, it removes that equation. And when he doesn't crack, then there's this like, I can't do anything to this man. So if he cracks even one more time this season, people won't have that fear.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that the amount of debate that we've put on this alone proves actually proves the point.
Yeah.
Right? He's probably not, it's probably, but if he loses again, we probably don't debate it this hard anymore.
I've just never raced someone as scary as him on the course.
Bracken, I looked it up. You've actually faced him 20 times, not 30, but you've got his number 4 times.
Just Spartan.
4 and 13 Spartan, and then a few HYROX.
And then there's been Superhero Scramble and Battle Frog and OCR Worlds. And
okay.
All right. That's enough OCR talk. Dawson.
All right. Well, I might have to just do the man that has the largest potential to take down Hunter in this race. He works directly with Anthony Pericini in the hybrid engine. Not Debo. I will not pick him over 1 overall. I'll have to go JK. I mean, he has the record to show since he's stepped into the HYROX Elite field that he is a racer, and the day of is all that really matters to him. He shows up and he competes and he pushes the rock zone harder than anybody else, and he just gives it his all. And him and Anthony have their own podcast. They're pretty dialed in. They talk all the time. They have strategies. They go over everything. James Kelly is Frankenstein's monster, and Anthony Pericini is Dr. Frankenstein. He just might be unstoppable with that combo. So I'm just talking him up because he's my pick. But yeah, there's been a lot of success with the hybrid engine and all their athletes. We might even need to put an indicator on everybody's names, just because that might be a benefit to the draft here, but I think he has the best shot to take down Hunter in this race.
And he did the last time they went head to head.
And he wants to again. Like, I think that's, JK wants to be the world champion. JK is not intimidated by Hunter. I think he wants to take down Hunter. He'll want to take down Hunter in this race, especially on US soil. I mean, this is absolutely the right pick.
He's one of the only people that you can tell visually out there is racing a HYROX. HYROX is not a race for a lot of people, even who are sub 60 guys, sub 58 guys. They're just executing. They're executing an exact strategy, and he's racing. He's super aggressive. He has the ability on the back end to transition like no one we've ever seen. And like sometimes he'll just like start kicking on lunges or something like that. He does things that are race related, and that makes him really difficult to handle in a race. Like, I'm sure he could time trial with the best of them, but the man can race.
100%. On the turn. See you
All
again,
right,
Dawson.
and I will stick with the same and go with Kate Davey, the burpee queen. She has kind of solidified herself with the regression of kind of the 4 through 7 spot over the last year. A lot of injuries, not a lot of people racing over the last 2 majors, and she's kind of filled that gap as, the 3rd or 4th best, depending on who's in the race. So I think she in this race is the obvious 3rd choice and kind of has separated herself from the pack behind her a little bit, just because there's so many questions with everybody else. I believe a few of the women here are running their first major of the year who had been in all the majors last year. So just kind of a lot of question marks with them. So I feel like just a solid pick with Kate Davey.
I like that. I like that. I think it's a strong pick. I think she's going to be good. I'm also going to go with a female before a lot of the top ones are off the board. I'm going to go with Linda Meyer. I like Linda here. I think that Linda, we've talked about this before. Linda is historically kind of that has been in that next tier after Lauren and Meg. She got a 2nd place podium last year. She was a top 5 finish at Worlds. She admitted that she was not fit for, she definitely was not fit for Amsterdam. I believe that I think her and Viola both missed because I think they both had COVID or something to that effect. And then I don't think that they had been super focused. Focused, not the right word. I don't think they had the right build up into Hong Kong that they wanted. Linda had even put out there that she wasn't as fit as she had hoped to be by then. But that's 2 months ago. She has been training. She's healthy. There's just no reason to think that, we're talking about that. I feel like this is a good value pick. This is the 4th overall woman for someone who typically gets a podium at majors, especially if Michaela hasn't been there in the past. So I feel good about this one.
I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah, I mean, she was a lock for the podium all last year, so she'll be back. She knows how to do it. All right.
She's not doing worse than 6th.
No way. No.
She's scoring.
Yeah.
She's absolutely scoring.
Yeah. So my computer froze. So this kind of sucks.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, I know who I'm picking regardless.
Jack's butt is running in the background.
It is. Yeah. So some guy just went 54-28 a couple months ago in Chicago, and he's not here currently, but that doesn't mean he's gonna. With Ryan, boo. There's no reason why you shouldn't podium. I mean, the other time that we saw him in Las Vegas was at World Championship. I know that was in 2022. He's a completely different athlete since then. He was a little bit tired after Chicago doing Dallas about a week later. Got beaten by Dylan Scott, but Rich Ryan's got to be as confident as anyone. It's just a short little 2-hour flight over to Las Vegas.
Time zones, Jack. Regional location. Jack is big on time zones recently.
Jack loves time zones. I will say this now because I have confirmed that our boy is okay.
I know. I didn't even mention about Hunter, but yeah.
We thought that he was drafting today. He didn't join us. So we were worried that maybe something had happened. I texted him and I said, "Bro, you good?" And he said, all caps, "Yeah," with 3 exclamation points, which is a lot for Rich. "I'ma fuck people up." So I think our guy is probably just in the zone, getting ready for this
Yeah.
major. I think this is a good pick.
He doesn't need any of this
Well, you know what?
background noise.
I get to use this phrase twice today. He's getting too big for his britches. He's stopping. He stops he's forgetting what got him here in the first place, which is race brain. We're the little people now. He's left us behind. He thinks I'm a 54 guy. I don't abide by your rules. And I don't think Dallas counts as his bad race. He goes good, then really bad. And he went good, and then he went pretty decent. So I think this is his bad race, and he goes 62 off the back end, drowning his tears on the wall balls.
Not a chance. Nah, we're trying. He got his bad one out of the way. Realistically, he decided he didn't need to go to Hong Kong. He's putting all his chips into this Las Vegas basket. It's gonna work out. All right, Bracken, back to back.
Well, you made my life a little easier, and I thought you were going to go foreign since, honestly, I'm amazed you don't have a mail order bride for as much as you love foreigners. I'm going with
Quite
Tim
the statement.
Venish, and I'm going to follow it up with
horrible.
Amy Bevilacqua.
I'm sorry.
Continue in the sentence.
So sorry.
Just drafting midway through that, Bracken. That was cold.
No, that's just a casual observation. I'm stunned. And
Yeah, I
you
like
just couldn't figure out what price point you wanted to go at, and you just priced yourself right out of it with too many spreadsheets.
Too many spreadsheets. Yeah.
Too many. It's too hard to get good reviews.
Been with Audrey for a decade, but that doesn't. Yeah.
I like the Vinish pick here. I do. How long did he hold on to it in Hong Kong? Was it farmers or lunges?
6 stations, and now he's got a couple more months of
yeah.
You know what? How many weeks is that? 7?
Yeah.
Can we look
no,
it
it
up
was
to find out his splits?
It was more. Either way.
Yeah, it was more. Yeah.
As long as he didn't get hurt sometime in training, he was 6-ish stations into that race against some of the best in the sport. I like his chances of making 8.
Yeah, and I think he posted that he's been healthy. So I think that race was big for him because he hadn't been healthy for a couple years. He went in, he almost held on. He secured his spot at Worlds. He's too much more fit. I mean, I think this is a good pick. Talk to us about that. Talk about that Amy Bevilacqua pick there,
Tim was 45 seconds ahead at 3rd place in Hong Kong. So that's a sizable gap as well. Just one other thing to mention.
And I'm not letting Amy B get back to anyone.
Yeah.
She's joining our squad.
He knew she was off the board if she made it back to me.
Yeah, she's not falling all the way back to me. She is just the truth. And she defies all things we believe to be true about what it takes to be really top of the game at HYROX right now, which is young, big, powerful, massive frame, and I don't know, not 50. So I love it. I love every second of this story, and my hope is that it continues for a long time, and she's going to be on my team every chance I get.
Love it.
Solid pick.
Jack.
Yep.
And is she the best runner in the field? She can have the best.
Lauren Weeks has to be just.
Well, Lauren doesn't count. We remove her from all discussions of is this person better at blank?
She's illegal.
No, Lauren is.
I think Meg is the best pure runner.
She's not in the field.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair. So then, yeah, maybe it's probably her or Kate, right?
I hope those two
Kate's
are
up
just
there.
thrashing those back 4.
I wish I could tell you, but the results page is too hard to navigate, so I can't.
I
go
know.
back and look.
Yeah, no splits available.
So I did figure out that if you go back to your browser history and pull up the old pages, you can still load them. They're there.
You can Google HYROX Micah timing results and pull it up too, but that's just too much work.
It's assuming you have browser history.
Delete that. Mail order brides. All right, Jack, you're up. Jack, are you with us?
He's frozen.
Jack.
Yeah.
Can't click those Russian links, Jack.
My pick, Bracken. What?
Jack, are you with us?
My hope.
This is not just me,
Well,
right?
computer-
No, it's not you.
Like, anyway, you were mentioning
I think if he just starts typing
no.
everything he's trying to say.
All right, Jack, I think we got you.
Yeah, like in the bottom. Okay, in the bottom corner, like some other spreadsheet's trying to load, and it's like crashing this and using all my computer resource. But anyway,
I told you need to shut Jack's butt. You stop running it in the background.
I was trying. Yeah, my butt's causing all kinds of problems. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I know who I'm picking. I think he got 4th place at the last major, 4th place at World Championship. Let's go, Polayo.
Honestly, I was gonna say it's borderline disrespectful that Polayo fell this far. No disrespect to Tim or to Rich. I don't think Rich has beaten Polayo head to head yet in a race. They are doubles partners.
I've got the best doubles team ever on my roster.
You do. You've got the world record holders in the men's open. I think this is absolutely the right pick, Jack. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 2nd in a major before. Is he still in the U.S.? I know that he obviously went over to Hong Kong. Like he's still in Chicago, based there. So
yeah,
nice, easy travel. Just to throw that out there as well. If you're doing
nice
race brain drinking game about geography.
That's right. Nice, easy travel. All right. This is going to be a homer pick, 100%.
Yeah.
But there is a name that everyone's forgotten about. There is someone on this list who is a North American champion, who used to be one of the most feared athletes.
I
Been
take
going
my
through
cheer back. I thought you were doing a real homer pick.
Yeah. Friend of the
No.
podcast.
No. And my coach. So disclaimer, and my coach. I'm taking Ryan Kent. Kent is fit. I'm not going to share any information that he wouldn't, without asking him first. But I've been talking to him a lot. He has done a couple of pretty tough workouts and pretty tough sims. He has completed them, and I'm telling you, fitness is not a problem for our boy. So when he shows up on Friday night, if he is there and from a mental standpoint, if he's locked in and ready to race, the fitness is there. And I think if Ryan Kent's fitness is there, then there's not many people that can beat him. And I don't think that he has been in it mentally. I mean, I know he hasn't been in it mentally. He's been very open about that since the passing of his father about a year ago. But I think he's finally on the other side of that. And I think that if he can put it together, I think there's a strong possibility that not only does he secure his spot for Worlds, but that he takes a podium spot.
I'm rooting for him.
I'm as big of a Kent stan as there is, and there's no one in the sport he hasn't beat. His best day, put him up against anyone else. He's the first person to take it to Hunter. He's taken it to Ronk. He is just on his day. He wins this race. And I want that. I want to recapture that for him.
He did win the last major in the U.S. Chicago,
Second to last major.
Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, DC.
Dude.
That was almost an elite stat.
But he waxed the field that day. Like it was
Ryan,
about as
Alex.
dominant. Yeah, Rylan, Alex, JK, Rich was in that race. Joffrey's in
Polayo.
every race. Yeah, Polayo. I mean, he waxed the field that day. And he says that he feels every bit as fit as he was then, if not more fit. So again, I think if he's there mentally and is ready to go the distance, there's no reason that he doesn't get a podium, or as Bracken said, he could win. Dawson.
Speaking of the man who won the last major in the U.S., Dylan Scott.
Elite stats.
Yeah, I mean, he races well in the U.S. You'd said it's a coin flip. It's usually lands on the right side in the U.S. So I think he's just he trains the most out of anyone. He should be ready to go. Just hope he doesn't eat any dairy products before the race.
Also an elite stat. That is the funniest story ever. Guy ate a jar of Nutella and he's got a milk intolerance and didn't realize that it had milk in it. Elite stat.
Yeah.
Dylan has elite creativity with roadblocks. He can conjure things up sometimes, but the man has also conjured up a training block the likes of which we have not seen in this sport before. He had mentioned after probably DECA that he thinks he trains the second most hours in all of hybrid racing. And he named the person overseas, I think a
Hugo
German.
Huge.
Yeah, Hugo Huge, that he thinks outtrains him. That has not been the case over the past 6 weeks. We are either going to see something unlocked or we are going to see someone atomize into dust. Well, I don't know what it's going to be, but you can't be more prepared through work than this man is currently in this place and time.
Will the volume pay off?
Let's hope.
Listen,
And
if
then-
some's good, more's better.
Yep.
And then I'll keep my hybrid engine team going. I'll go with Lauren Griffith.
That is not where I thought that you were going to go. I was hoping that pick was going to fall to me. I like this pick a lot. Lauren races hard. She's like, I think you all know what I mean by this. She's like a Lauren Weeks Jr. She's not Lauren Weeks status in terms of results, but that's how she goes about the race. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When it works really well. We have seen her run a 60-minute HYROX. She's in Salt Lake, I think, or somewhere in Utah. So this is a 45-minute flight. That is going to be a non-factor. I think that she's going to run like a bat out of hell. And I think that it'll probably work out for her this time.
We don't really talk about altitude training in hybrid sports the way we did in OCR, the way we do in running, but
That's
I
true.
don't know if I can think of a sport I'd rather come down from altitude for than hybrid. Something that just allows you to stay under the line a little bit easier or work a little harder under the line than you're used to. Anyone who's done a hybrid or compromised run workout at altitude knows the misery of that. So I don't even know where I'm going with this other than she's coming down from altitude, and that is an advantage. We
And
don't
for
talk
what it's
about it in
worth,
hybrid much.
and for what it's worth, Dr. Frankenstein, in Dawson's words, is very high on Lauren Griffith. I mean, obviously he has a lot of these athletes, but he has said multiple times that he thinks that she's a threat when she puts it all together. And there's no reason to think that in a US based race that she doesn't put it all together. So I like that pick. Now I am going with a homer pick. Give me Debo himself, Marcus Wallace, to round out the dudes. Listen, there is no way that he's finishing last. This is probably, Bracken is going to say, is probably a reach. However,
I would never dare say that. I can fight Rich. I don't want any part of Marcus.
You've been Wallace.
We talked about Hunter dominating Bracken throughout the years. I don't know if anything comes into comparison when Bracken went over to Marcus's garage and took a beat down
this is good
in
intel.
a workout a few months ago. So Bracken, you can attest to this, but what hurt more, the workout with Marcus or losing to Hunter all those years?
I never lost to Hunter in my mind. I'm like Shale Sonnen. I'm undefeated. If you beat Hunter once, you have never lost to that man. And I sleep on that pillow. It's embroidered right in there. My wife made it
I
for
beat
me.
Hunter.
Yep. Hunter's never beaten me. And
You give Bracken enough
never,
keys lights, he'll explain to you how he was better at OCR than Hunter.
Yeah. Yeah. I have never even seen Marcus's taillights in a workout. We have done a DECA together. We have done a HYROX double strong you go I go workout. We have done just standard hybrid work, and I had to bail out of the workout. I couldn't finish the last workout we did with him. Just whoops me.
You're gonna need to press charges with how much he abuses you during those workouts.
Guys-
You can
guys
if you
got-
ask for it. He's my
Guy's
dom.
got an engine. Guy's got an engine. I think that this is the ascension of Marcus Wallace. And there are people that are listening to the show that are going to say that this is a homer pick. And you know what? Fine. I don't really care. He's been working with the hybrid engine. I follow him on Strava. His running is gotten to be pretty elite, borderline elite. I know that there are other names on this list that might be more obvious because they've been there, done it before. But I also don't think that Marcus has really had a shot. You know, he showed up to the last chance qualifier last year. He hadn't raced in over a year. He put down a very good time in Toronto, then followed it up with another good time in Chicago. It just got overshadowed by the fact that our boy put down a 54.28. If Rich had not put down a 54.28, everybody would have talked about how Marcus Wallace is right there. That's someone that needs to be reckoned with because he put together back-to-back 57s in less than a month. He's got 2 more months of training, 2 more months of running. You know his running is going to be strong. He was preparing for Elite 15 doubles with Dawson. There's no way he finishes 15th. And I honestly think that, you know, I only have one more guy to pick, and I honestly think that he might score. I think that he might take one of these world championship spots from here.
All I have to say is whatever he does in the race is exactly how I would finish if I was in this race. So I just want that on record.
It is to
Unless
Dawson's
it wasn't
benefit.
bad.
It is to Dawson's benefit for Marcus to wax everybody because that further proves the point.
Well, and I think that's exactly right. We saw these two go up to Toronto and run the exact same course at almost the same time that the other people ran it and beat them significantly. Guys who are in the Elite 15. This is no longer just a homer thing. Everyone before they became world champ was only known by the people in their hometown. And then eventually the nation and the world heard about it. And that's what this moment is. Can Marcus go out there and lay an egg? Yeah. But he's a strength-based athlete, which limits his implosion rate in a HYROX. And now he can run like a non-strength-based athlete. I mean, the guy was what, 47, 48 in the 400 in high school. So he's got get up and go, and he's got crazy power, and he has staying power now. And my only regret about all this is that Dawson's not on the start line with him.
I think the other most important factor is he's the last man in, and we've seen that work out time and time again in majors. So Marcus is just going to keep the trend continuing.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He's 25th. He's got nothing to lose. And there's nothing scarier than someone on the start line that has nothing to lose.
Yep.
Jack, you're up.
All right. I'm going to go with a Red Bull athlete, Lucy Proctor. Oh, yeah.
Jack zigs. He thinks he's going to zag again?
I'm doing that this whole time, realistically. Yeah. So, I mean, what is she was like 61 mid the last time in Marseille, 61.39. And she, if you look at her running split, she went sub 30 on one of the runs. And she's consistently 30 high, 31 low. One of the best runners in the field. Hasn't really raced majors, but she won the 24 and under world championship last year, I think. I just feel like this is her breakthrough race right now. She's got the times, just doesn't have the experience yet against the big fields, but it's going to happen this weekend.
Sure, there's a joke in here somewhere about proctologists and Jack's butt, but we're not going to make that joke. We're just going to support that.
This is a serious
really
podcast, Bracken.
She's really good, and this could be that breakthrough race for her.
Yeah, no doubt. I like this pick, Jack. BK.
I need a man.
Yeah, you do.
What a man, what a man.
And that man is going to be Jonathan Wynn.
Team John Wynn. I like it.
So disrespected on this.
Is he going to take 9th?
Picks.
Not by Bracken and I, he doesn't.
Is he the 9th best in this field?
No.
I would say not according to major history.
No.
He's as a big a vet in this sport as you're going to find from a major participation standpoint. And he's not going to be that person that messes up his race and fades out to last place or outside the top 10.
Now, Sims cannot necessarily always be trusted, but
what
John Wynn is pretty open with his training. He has been focused on the running for the last couple of weeks. He posts his workouts daily for people to see. He just recently did a sim where he was able to hold 309 pace for every 1K. So is he going to hold 309 in the race? Probably not. We don't see anyone do that. But the point is that was probably the knock is he's a strength-based athlete. We have seen several times where he's been pretty far back, gets to the sled pull, then he makes his move and he starts chipping away. I think he can run now, and I think he feels confident in his ability to run. So I like it. I think it's a good pick.
Thank you. I appreciate your appreciation of that pick, and I'm going to follow it up with Viola Oberlander.
Now this is disrespect.
It is. Now
This is actually disrespectful.
I think she's being judged off what she came into the season at what stage of her training. But I mean, is she outside the top 5 ever?
She got 11th in Hong Kong.
Right. So she's being judged off.
But again,
that one time.
Her and Linda missed a big training block because they both had a severe COVID sickness and then only had 6 weeks to get ready for Hong Kong. They both weren't necessarily trained the way
As
they'd
someone
like
who laid down on the ground during the row of a HYROX doubles with COVID, I feel qualified to speak on its effect in HYROX. It sucks. If your lungs are reduced during HYROX, it's not great. So I think she's back. I think this pick is going to score for me.
I agree.
Yep.
Jack.
All right. I'm gonna go with the guy who's already shown that he can travel from Europe to the US. He's consistently been in like right around that 5th place or so at a couple majors. Yannick Chopla. He went over, obviously, he ran that super fast time. I think it was in Berlin last year, and we were like, that's ridiculous. No one's running 54. That time's not real. And then he ended up coming over, got 6th place at the Anaheim last chance qualifier. And then since then, he's run in the 56s a couple of times in Hamburg. And I know he was 10th in Hong Kong, but I don't know. He was 4th in Amsterdam earlier in one of the majors. And if you've got 4th place in a major and you're still on the board 10 picks in, I'm taking you.
Most importantly, if you have a double consonant blend in your name, Jack's taking you.
Only if it's double G at the end, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. It's me. And this is also massive disrespect. Give me the American Vivian Taputo. Not that I need a disclaimer. I guess I will have a disclaimer. We know that she wasn't healthy the first half of the season. It's part of the reason why she didn't race Hong Kong. Although I'm willing to bet that Vivian would not be towing the line in this race if she didn't feel like she was healthy or all the way healthy or even close to being all the way healthy. But what is she? What number of woman is she off the board here?
I'm not doing your research
9.
for you.
She's a
9th.
Yeah,
she's
I'll
9th.
take a
And
strike.
Jack, what place does Vivian typically get in races?
4th, sometimes
4th.
3rd, even if it's at a world championship.
Sometimes 3rd. Listen, Vivian's not getting 9th. Does anyone think she's getting 9th?
I think she's getting 4th.
That's what I'm saying.
Lori
This
spot.
pick's gonna
Good value.
score. Great value. Dawson.
All right. I'm going to try to compete with the Rich Leo doubles partners, and I will take Zara Piergiani, however you say her name. So her and Kate Davies, doubles partners, always kill it. I mean, they can give Rich and Palaio a run for their money if we're being honest. I don't know. Our Milwaukee HYROX group has a special place in our heart from a few members for Zara. So shout out to them. That was one of the main reasons for this pick. But she's just she's been solid in the majors all last year. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, and I think she was the best available on the board. So
Yeah, same logic. She's not getting 10th.
Yeah. She went
I
64.04 in Hong Kong, solid.
Yeah.
She travels a lot. That's not going to affect her because she's done this plenty of times.
Yeah, she's not getting 10th. Back to you, Dawson.
And then I'll have to go with Bo Wills. He always just is able to pull one out when he needs it. He's a second half racer. He really races smart and with the big names in this race, and whatever is going to happen up front, I don't think it's really going to affect his race plan. So I feel like he can definitely make his way up throughout the race and get me a few extra points with a lower pick.
Yeah, he just beat John Wayne in Frankfurt by 45 seconds, a minute. John went in the 4th round. This is a 6th round pick.
That was the final race with results available.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad we played right into Matt's hands.
Yep.
I was going to take this woman just to spite him, but now he's going to get to.
I don't like this psychology that's going on.
Teaser. We know who you're
here.
gonna pick.
Do you?
Yeah.
And with another homer
Wild card.
pick.
The Italian Stallion.
No, actually, that wasn't where I
Whoa.
was going to go, but
There's
that's what
some
Bracken
respect.
wants me to do.
No,
That's what
it's
Bracken
just
wants
what
me to
I
do.
think has been preordained.
But you know
by the
what?
stars.
You know what? Now that you basically, I've got no choice now, because now if I don't pick this person, I'm going to look like a jackass because of the way that Bracken set it up. And you know
It's
what?
key
I do
material.
believe in Camila Massa. So go ahead and give me Camila.
You know, now that you mention it, I do think, yeah, absolutely, that she's a good athlete.
Camila's a great athlete. 100%. She's healthy, so there's that. She was also pretty honest about she had some health, like internal health issues, not necessarily like sports related injuries, that I believe that she's past now. She's well trained. Again, Jack's expert analysis. It's a short 2-hour flight. She's coming down from altitude.
Matters.
It matters.
Coming down
She's
from
gonna score.
altitude.
Can we talk about altitude?
She's gonna score.
At one point, if you didn't live at altitude, you could not go top 10 at a Spartan Race World Championship.
All right. If
And that's essentially how distance running is now. When is Hybrid going to get on board?
Yeah, what all the
Hopefully
best runners
never,
train.
Milwaukee.
All the best runners train in Flagstaff, right? I mean,
we've only got 3 in the field now, like, so it's not as big of a deal yet.
Hunter's at altitude.
No,
Warren
he's
Weeks
not.
is at altitude.
Hunter,
Yeah, he
Hunter's-
is.
But he's like right next to the ocean in Malibu.
No. He's got
his
that.
man camp.
He's
Is he up
got
in
his
Big
man
Bear?
camp
Or
and
near-
Crestline or whatever
Kind
it's
of
called.
Big Bear, yeah.
We're going to have to build an altitude tent in Milwaukee.
That's right. In BK's garage. Jack.
All right. I'm going to go with the woman who ended up winning the 25-29 division and had the 2nd fastest time overall, all heats combined in Nice last year, World Championship. Seka Arning. She has run in the 61s a couple of times and got 7th place in Hong Kong. That's my
I
pick.
support
I
that
like it.
pick
BK.
begrudgingly. And now give me Sean Noble. Come in, shake things up. I think he's hungry. I think he's going to surprise some people in this race.
I agree. And
He's either
be on
going
camera.
to he is. We talked about this earlier with a different athlete. He is either going to be in it, or he is going to go up in a ball of flames.
Yes.
And that is how he races.
And so I'm going to balance that out with Joffrey. Joffrey is going to do Joffrey.
Especially if we get some slow American sleds. This man is strong.
Is he going
He's
to
going to
close
go
well?
unbroken on the wall balls.
He's going to close well.
He's going to
Yeah.
close well.
Is he going to close from 15th or 10th or 7th? We don't know, but he's going to just do his thing out there. So these two are opposite sides of the same coin, and I get to flip that coin now.
Smart. I
playing
like that. Hedging
odds.
your bets in true Vegas fashion. Hedging the bets. I like it. Jack.
This is tough. I keep seeing like Harry Thompson and thinking it's Jennifer Thompson. Just because of the recent results she said. That would have been fantastic having her in the field.
Got close.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm gonna go Jess Petro. She's traveled a ton, knows how to. I don't know if she's in Southern California early for this race, because I think that's where she was. I know she's Australian, but she's typically just, you're gonna get in that 5 to 10 range with her, and solid performer over the years.
I like it. I'm gonna pull a BK and go a true wild card here.
Someone not on the list?
When was the last time we had a major and someone didn't drop 48 hours beforehand?
Not since they instituted drug testing.
Ooh, deep cut.
Conspiracy
Deep
theory.
cut. All I'm saying is this is probably a dumb pick, but I think
Love
it's
it.
the right. But I think it's the right pick because again, someone drops a day to 2 days before the race. It's happened the last 4 or 5 races to the point where we've actually talked about solutions to this because it keeps happening. So therefore, in true wild card fashion, give me number 21 on the women's
Bracken
leaderboard
Crocker?
who is there
Oh.
and ready to race. Give me Maria Fetchik. If any of these women drop, Maria is going to be there. Another hybrid engine athlete. I don't know if she's going to get to race, but if she does, she's going to score.
I support that type of pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sub
yeah, is
63 in
it kind of
Toronto.
is it kind of dumb? Maybe. But again, history shows someone is not going to race that is on this list for some reason. And Maria is there. And they know that Maria is there, so they will fill the spot.
I hope Dawson picks himself. Some
Yeah.
inside information.
That'd be great. Just pick yourself. It's a wild card.
Speak it into existence.
So I will take Jake Dearden in the hopes that his back is not cured and he drops, and I will jump in last minute.
Do you have, are you
No.
tracking flights?
No, I mean, I feel like Jake overall, he's been injured with his back. Might be a blessing in disguise. He was kind of over raced and overtrained, which is what led to his back injury. Just with the marathon and the major, kind of within a close proximity to another. So he could be well rested for this. This is the wild card pick, so that's what I'm going with. I'm hoping that he has a good recovery and bounces back well. And if not, I'm always there. I'm there on Thursday. So
Yeah. You'll answer the phone call.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick. All right, boys. You did
Recap.
it.
Who's
Recap,
on each
Bracken.
team? Got to do that.
They can read it.
No.
But I'll announce it because I have a good team. Lauren Weeks, Tim Venish, Amy Bevilacqua, Jonathan Wynn, Viola Oberlander, Sean Noble, and Joffrey Voisin.
My team, I've got Joanna Wetrick, Rich Ryan, Pelayo Menendez-Fernandez, Lucy Proctor, Yannick Chopla, Seka Arning, and Jess Petro.
In my team, I've got Hunter McIntyre, Linda Meyer, Ryan Kent, Debo, Vivian Tafuto, Camila Massa, and the most wild card pick of all the wild card picks, Maria Fetchik.
And I have the Frankenstein monster, James Kelly, Kate Davey, Dylan Scott, Lauren Griffith, Zara Piergiani, Bo Wills, and Jake Dearden. I also believe I have the most hybrid engine athletes, which may be a benefit.
So question,
their cycle, right?
I believe that Lauren Smith drafted for Jack one time and you stuck that result on Jack. So does this mean that Dawson's results are stuck on Rich for better or for worse?
Oh, it didn't count for me. I refuted that.
Oh, that's because Jack owns the all-time scoring. But
Yeah, it's like I'm in charge of the scoring sheet. This is either I'm in it or not.
I think
But
this has got to
also-
count.
I want to
This has
get
gotta
ahead
stick.
of anyone misinterpreting what I just said, that they better time their cycle right. I was talking training cycle. I wasn't inferring anything about the hybrid. I just made a drug comment about testing. This was not a follow-up to that. Anthony, don't take it the wrong way.
But history does seem to indicate that there's someone that's definitely doping. Not saying anyone in this field is, but someone is. That's all I'm saying. Hot takes. Hot takes. All right, boys. Any final thoughts?
When is the race? What time? When should the listeners?
Yeah, so I think
watch me?
it's local time. It's local time, 6 p.m. Pacific for the women, 7:30 p.m. Pacific for the men, which Milwaukee Standard Time is 8 o'clock and 9:30. Going to be a late one for the
They not
Scotties.
streaming?
They are streaming. Yes, I think Meg Jacoby is going to be on the broadcast with Lauren, Greg from the Rocks Life, and then Till.
That'll be interesting.
And
Yeah,
as
for-
mentioned, I'll be on site. So if you're watching the live stream, you need to give Rich some tips. You can just text me and I'll relay the message to him live.
That's right.
Perfect.
That dude's so focused. He's not hearing anything.
Yeah, he's
All right,
not even
squad.
gonna listen to this till after.
He's not even going to listen to it at all. So
Probably not. Yeah.
Till next time.
All right.
until next time,
Yeah.
we out.